Welcome. Thank you for downloading another episode of Parks and Conversation. This is a rewatch conversation podcast about the classic NBC program Parks and Recreation, starring Amy Poehler and the crew, written by, directed by, produced by Michael Schur and that whole crew. It's a wonderful universe that we get to step into every week and discuss this show. And my name is Jason, and I'm joined by my friend Jeremy. Say hello, Jeremy.
Hey, how's it going?
So good. How has this week treated you?
Good.
All right. The pause there made me curious, but I'll take you at your word. So I do want to thank people who have been downloading our episodes. I appreciate the feedback. People are talking to me, friends on Facebook, and they're talking with their friends and they're sharing it, and it's great. Thank you for downloading. If you want to follow along on Twitter, where we are posting occasionally, you can follow at Parks and Convos. You can also send an email to parksandconversations@gmail.com. And we'd love to chat with you. But as always, with every podcast, if you've listened to this is not your first podcast. And if it is, I feel bad for you. But it is really helpful if people go and like and subscribe and review all of the podcast stuff on all the different podcast devices that you use. So if you're in Google or Spotify or Apple, tell people about it in those platforms. That's super helpful. So today...
And go buy a mattress from Purple.
Right. We're not sponsored, but maybe if they ask, how'd you hear about us? Parks and Conversation. They're like, oh, that's cool.
No, so those podcasts they don't have to do that. I just thought it was a thing that everybody's like, oh, we're talking about mattresses.
Oh, yeah. Well, you would think, because they all do talk about mattresses and Dollar Shave Club and Harry's. And, Harry's Razors, they decided to change the whole mattress game by buying a razor factory. I'm getting confused. I don't remember all the things. Yeah, it happens. So today we are continuing in season 2, and we're looking at episode 4, the practice date. And right off the bat, there's a fun little tidbit that happens in this episode that you wouldn't know is happening unless you looked up on the cast list. There is no Andy Dwyer in this episode.
That's sad.
Isn't that strange?
He's a busy guy. He's a busy guy.
He took a week off to go and film Jurassic World. I don't know what he did during this time, but he wasn't in this episode. But let me give you a synopsis, and I'm going to read this right off of IMDb because they nailed it. And it's a simple one. Anne helps a nervous Leslie get ready for her first date with Dave by giving her a practice date, while everybody else at the office tries to dig up the juiciest dirt on each other. That's the show. Thanks for listening, and we'll talk more about it now.
All right.
So, is that it? Is over? Is that over? Okay. So this practice date situation, the two storylines are, it starts with the cold open where they are watching Councilman Dexhart confessing to his latest sex scandal. And we don't have to get into all the details of what he was doing, but it was his birthday and he really wanted to. So, what are you going to do? I
didn't. Does that work with anything?
No, Jeremy, okay. Do not try that for anything. Unless I want cake today.
Yeah. Right. Yeah. I've always wanted to try to rob a bank. Not that I want the money. I just want to see if you could. Like, they make it look so cool in movies. Like, I wonder if I could come up with the perfect plan. And then if I get caught, it's like, well, it was my birthday and I've always wanted to. Like, oh, okay, that's fine.
Yeah. Well, just make sure that your birthday doesn't fall on a Sunday, because banks are closed.
Oh, that's true. If you were to rob a bank, what mask would you wear? Like what?
I would go with the classic Richard Nixon mask.
Just because you want to make political statements as you're like, oh, this guy was a thief.
No, the irony of when he said, I am not a crook, and here I am
being a
crooking. Crook. Yeah. So
I like it.
I don't know. I saw it in a movie one time where they were wearing all these different president masks, and I would go with Nixon. I think mainly because he looks like he has a big head, and I do have a big head. So like it would be a comfortable mask
Nice.
mainly. I don't know.
That's good.
I really haven't thought too much about bank robberies.
I would go as a chef, like a big chef mask, and say, "I am not a cook."
So dumb. Chefs don't wear masks; they just wear hats and aprons and stuff.
I know. So it's a whole thing. It's more of a costume than a mask.
Oh, okay. So you wouldn't cover your face at all?
Well, I would like a Chef Boyardee. Like he was a chef.
Do we really want to call the guy who puts nasty pasta in cans a chef?
I don't know where he got his degree from.
I went to Boyardee University, and Boyardee's delicious.
Yeah, perfect.
Heyo.
He's scraping the bottom of the barrel for that one.
I'm really cleaning out the SpaghettiOs out of the jar for that one.
Hey, my SpaghettiOs are saying something to me. It says, "Ooh."
That's so dumb. Wow. Man, I have not had SpaghettiOs in a long time.
Good for you. That's probably a wise choice.
Well, life goals. So I have a bucket list, and I already ate the bucket of SpaghettiOs, so that's done. So back to Parks and Recreation. Dexhart is doing his press conference apology, and this is where we are introduced to Perd Hapley, the newsman, to get on and to this is like his first straight news reading, really.
Yeah.
But we'll see Perd Hapley really just knock it out of the park, played by Jay Jackson, who is in real life an actual newscaster, and so an actual reporter.
I love when people really get into their roles. Like that's what he did. Like to get ready, he's like, "I'm going to be a newscaster."
Yeah, right. Very method,
dedicated. I like it.
Yeah. So he was somewhere. I saw it somewhere in his background. But anyway, he's been in a lot of other stuff too. So, so he's great. And Perd will only get better and better as the seasons go on. So Perd is the guy on the scene for the Pawnee Media Empire. And then it cuts to the credits. And after the credits, they are talking, the whole office team and Mark are all there. And they're saying, why would anybody want to run for public office? Like, you're going to have dirt in your life that people are going to dig up. Why would anybody want this? And this introduces a game for the whole office team to dig up dirt on each other. And whoever can get the best dirt wins. I don't understand the rules of the game. Like, how do you win? Because you just make everybody mad.
Yeah, I think that was Jerry's initial reaction to it is, this is terrible. This is mean, and I don't want to play. And Tom's like, well, too bad.
You don't get to choose, Jerry.
You are here.
Yeah, you're attending. So they instantly like start scheming, and Ron comes out. He's like, I'm in. I can best all of you. And so this is the first time Ron really wants to be a part of the team and play a game with people. And he's very casual in his wardrobe, holding a football. So he's clearly ready to rock. And then Leslie is comes into the office with Dave. They have gotten coffee together, and Officer Dave, and they're coming into the office, and this is it right off the bat. They're like, what are you doing? We're going to dig up stuff on each other. And Dave's like, oh, well, that guy right there, he has a public urination charge. and it's pointing at Jerry. And he's like, I told you I didn't want to play. And he leaves. And Dave, the best joke, he's probably going to go anger pee somewhere. Yeah. Oh, I love it. Even Dave's jumping in on ribbing on Jerry. So, he has a 359 public urination. So then Dave and Leslie, they say goodbye. It's like, oh, we'll see you tomorrow. And Leslie's like, our first real date. Nervousness. So, and then it cuts to, am I missing anything? Anything you want to say? I feel rambly, so I don't want to say too much or go too fast before you say stuff.
No, you're doing great.
Okay. Thanks, man.
Keep going.
Yay!
You can do it.
Oh man, this is great. So Anne and Leslie are eating lunch together. Like, it cuts from that scene in the office to Anne and Leslie eating lunch, and Anne is telling the story about how she saved somebody's life, and Leslie's just like staring and nodding, and then immediately changes the subject to say, "Hey, do you have any clothes I can wear for this date that I'm going on with Dave?" So clearly, Leslie's not the best friend, because she's totally self-obsessed. She wanted to wear something. How did she say it? Wanted to wear something sexy like cargo pants.
Yeah. Or a sexy hat. And he's like, I don't even know what that is. And I was trying to think too, like, what would be the most scandalous hat a person could totally wear? And I guess, I mean, it would be no hat. You'd just be, you'd be nude on your head.
Well, I mean, that's a whole level of boldness that I don't know if our society's ready for.
Yeah.
So, so Anne says, "Why don't you come over after work and you can try on some of my clothes?" And Leslie's like, "After work when, so many hours away?" Like, so then they just go. Leslie leaves work to go to Anne's house to try on Anne's clothes for her first date with Dave. So that's going down that road to the practice date. And then we cut back, and it cuts to the office, and Ron just slaps a picture up on the wall. It says Taliban robes. And he's holding a picture of Tom, who is of Indian descent, wearing what looks like Taliban robes, but it's actually just a Jedi costume from a Halloween party. But it doesn't matter. It looks like he's wearing Taliban robes.
Who do you think he was trying to be?
Which Jedi?
Yeah.
That looked kind of like what Obi-Wan wears.
I think so as well. Good job. You got it.
Well, I have just been working my way through the Star Wars saga.
And Aziz Ansari was in it.
Oh man, that would have been a very interesting movie if Aziz Ansari was in it. Oh, my fingies!
When they get cut off.
Yes.
Everyone has to lose something off of a hand or something.
Yeah. Huh. Yeah. That would have been a fun retelling of Star Wars if it was just told kind of like that guy in Ant-Man, Luis, retelling his interactions with people. But as Aziz Ansari telling Star Wars, I would totally watch that.
I'm in.
But anyway,
more good ideas.
Yeah, we are good idea machines. Okay, so they find the Taliban robes, and then also we find out Tom's response is Ron's ex-wife is Tammy, but did you know his first wife's name is also Tammy? Cut to Ron. Yes, my mother's name is also Tammy. What's your point? So this is the most we've learned about Ron ever.
That is a Jaeger secret.
Yeah, you broke a Jaeger secret. So this is already creating tension in relationships. This game is just starting, and it's already kind of pull people apart. So it cuts back to Anne's house where Leslie and Anne are talking and getting ready, and Leslie does the worst British accent ever, which is great.
Yeah, Anne does like an old fashioned, like a elegant British, impression, and then Leslie comes back with a Cockney version that's just really screechy and terrible.
Yeah, it's awful. So,
and Anne just stares at her like, "What was that? Why?
What happened here?" Yeah, so good. So then Leslie starts talking about she's overthinking stuff and like all the stuff that could go wrong. Mm-hmm. And she lists several things that have actually happened to her. And my favorite was one time a guy tried to pull out my teeth. We went on a couple of dates after that, but it got weird. Like, fell asleep in a movie theater. His hand was in my mouth. We went out a couple times after that, but then it got weird.
But then it got weird.
So I would love to know, like, all these characters that they establish in Pawnee over time, like one of those people could have been this person that she went on a date with.
Right.
Like one of the people even at a community forum or a town hall, like that get like the yelly guy. Like what if it was him? So I love that. I love the world that Pawnee is and how Leslie builds these details of all the guys that she's went out with and how bad they were. So yeah, and then also Leslie has topics for conversation like that she wants to go over, like what if I don't talk about Darfur enough? So it's great. So many good things.
When would you ever need to talk about Darfur? What if I talk about it too much? What if I don't talk about it enough? Is there a point where people should be talking about it? I don't know.
Yeah, these are the questions for the ages. Questions for the ages. So, yeah. So, anything else from there? And did you have a favorite scenario that Leslie endured in her bad dates?
Yeah, I thought the funniest to me was the most ridiculous one is that she rode in a sidecar that detached and went down a flight of stairs.
Yes.
or just the fact that like at first they're hypotheticals, like, and Anne's like, these would never happen. She's like, no, they have. These have happened. So, and then she keeps going. It's great.
Yeah. These have all happened to me.
Yeah. We just think that she's being a little neurotic and all that. It's like, no, these have really happened. She has the worst luck with dates. So,
right. And she also has some really intense breakups that we'll get to next season.
Yes.
In season 3 that, are really, really funny. So, all right. Yeah. Spoiler alert. Leslie's still on the show in season 3. I don't want to get the emails. I know.
Right. No one's going to listen to the rest. Yeah. They're not going to listen to the rest of the podcast. Now they're just going to skip to season 3.
Yeah. All right. So it goes back to the office and Tom brings his wife, Wendy, into work. And
that's when Anne suggests a practice date.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. Just saying.
Yeah. So Anne sets up this idea. We're going to go on a practice date and help you work through all of the possible bad things that could happen, essentially, is what Anne's hoping for. So we meet Wendy. She comes into the office with Tom because they're going to go celebrate.
Tom accuses Donna of being a racist.
Right.
Or what? Or I should say hating Black people.
Right. Donna is African American, but she contributed to David Duke's presidential campaign, and her reason was he said he would lower taxes. So Tom is talking about how hot his wife is, and it cuts to Ron, he's suspicious of their relationship, and
as he should
says, be. Well, yeah. But he has a 10-point scale for beauty. And Wendy is a 7.4 and Tom is a 3.8.
Ooh.
And so there's something off here. And I love the perfect 10 for Ron is tennis star Steffi Graf. It's the perfect 10. So yeah, so he's starting to dig. He's gonna pursue that thread here as he's trying to dig up more dirt on Tom. Like, how are these two together?
I think it's funny that two Toms barely make one Wendy on the beauty scale.
Yeah, I didn't even think about the math implications of this.
Ron,
thank you.
Yeah, you're welcome.
Yeah, well, Ron thinks through a lot of stuff.
Mm-hmm.
He doesn't look like it, but he really does.
He's got to do something while he's doing nothing.
Right. So cut again to the practice date, Anne and Leslie. And Anne is just being terrible to Leslie on the date.
How come?
Oh, well, let me tell you why. Because she is trying to do immersion therapy, where put all of the bad possible things that could happen at one time into a situation as a way to help people overcome their fears. It's something she learned in nursing school. So I don't know. We're both married to nurses. My wife has never said that they learned that in nursing school. So I think Anne may just be a really bad nurse.
I don't know. I mean, this makes a lot more sense to me now. Now that I've gone, like, I haven't watched this episode in a very long time. I've always wondered why Terry continues to like bring home tanks of snakes. Forces me to go up like in really, really high places. Like just lean over the edge.
Did she put you up in a hot air balloon with a tank of snakes?
Yeah. Yes.
In the dark?
In the dark while holding a hive of bees. But, I'm not really scared of anything anymore. I mean, the guy that was driving the balloon, of course, is a clown. Yeah. I'm cured.
I would think, this is neither here nor there, I would think that it would only make sense for hot air balloonists to be required to wear clown outfits because their vehicle itself is whimsical.
It is. And most of them are like rainbow in color anyway, like their hair.
Yes. Right.
I think the baskets should just have giant clown feet. Like when you land, it should look like
my
you just
goodness, yes,
smashed a clown.
Or the sandbags should be like clown shoes, like that fall out.
Yeah. Every time you go to pull the cord for a blast of the fire, it should just make like a squeaky horn sound.
Yes.
Right.
Yeah. I'm on board. Who do we talk to?
The big hot air balloon.
I'm going to write a letter.
Okay.
Dear balloonists.
Will you send it airmail?
Yes, I will.
Good.
All right. Where were we?
I'm just going to throw this out there. One of my favorite jokes of potentially the series, top 10, I think, is Leslie gets so flustered that she's like, you need to excuse me. I need to go visit the Whiz Palace. Right. She's so flustered, she can't remember the name of it. And then she almost walks into the men's restroom and she cuts back across and says, the bathroom. It's called the bathroom. And then goes, but the Whiz Palace, it's great. It's like, if you're not going to remember the name of something, that's still pretty good. Right.
And it's accurate. And this is not a one-time thing where Leslie is going to call it that. It will come up again and again and again, where she will need to refer to the Whiz Palace. So, great point. I almost missed it. I wrote it down, but I'm glad you called it out. All right. So then it comes back to the office and it seems like they're all working really late today. If Anne and Leslie are already at dinner. Yeah. So Jerry sees Mark coming in and is like, hey, Jerry, I found out that you have an unpaid parking ticket, to which Mark responds, well, I heard that your adoptive mother has a marijuana possession charge. And Jerry's response is, I didn't know I was adopted.
You didn't know that, did you? I didn't know I was adopted.
Oh, man, I love it. That was so good.
Poor Jerry. And this is what he gets for trying to play along. Like he said, I don't want to play. And then he just does some and Tom's response is like Mark feels so bad. And Tom's like, don't feel too bad. He had to come and he baited you with that parking violation.
Oh man, so good. That is, I think, my favorite part of the whole episode is I didn't know I was adopted. So then Ron calls Tom into his office. Ron and they have nicknames for each other. I can't remember.
Tomato Sauce and Ron
Tomato Sauce. Yes.
Rontonimo Bay.
Right. Yes. So Ron busts the news on Tom. He found out that Tom's marriage is a green card marriage.
What?
To which Tom's response is no way, man. I was born in South Carolina. No, Wendy was born in Canada. Man, what a great act of sleuthing on Ron's part.
Yeah. It all makes sense now. All the creepiness of Tom hitting on the other women. Yeah.
Yeah. There was no real relationship there. He was just trying to help her stay in the country. The
hotness disparity makes sense now.
It's all coming together. But he asks Ron, like, hey, please don't tell anybody. This can't get out. Like, we'll get in serious trouble. And Ron's like, you're fine. I'm not going to tell anyone. Mm-hmm. So that's that. Cut back to Anne and Leslie going to the after the date. They're drinking, and Leslie's getting pretty drunk. And what does she say? Drunk Leslie. She goes to Dave's house and tells her like, "Hey, I'm pretty awesome, and you should be pretty excited to go on a date with me." And she's totally wasted at Dave's house, and is like, "Yeah, I need to come inside, like, because I am wasted." So
he's like, I don't think that's a good idea. She's like, I think it is. Get out of the way. You make a better door than a guy.
Better door than a guy. Yeah. So yeah. So Tom is frustrated with Ron discovering the green card marriage, and so he goes to Mark to say, "Hey, I need to find dirt on Ron." And Mark is feeling terrible because like this game is not good. What he did to Jerry, it's not good. But he tells him to go to this bar in Eagleton, and there's a man there named Duke Silver, a man of mystery, a man of jazz.
He must know something if he knows. He must be a mysterious character if he knows something about Ron.
Yeah. So Tom goes to the bar in Eagleton to see what's going on there. And at the bar, it is full of, I would say, older women.
You could say that.
And so Tom goes up to the bartender and says, "Hi, I'm looking for a guy named Duke Silver." Like, well, he's going to be on stage in just a moment. And who is Duke Silver? It's Ron Swanson.
In a fedora,
playing saxophone, preparing a hot cup of jazz.
I'm surprised that Tom even recognized him in the fedora. Typically in movies, like if you're wearing a hat or glasses, no one can see you. You're practically invisible.
It's been a foolproof system for hundreds of years.
Yeah.
But Tom has been a detective for an afternoon.
Mm-hmm.
So he figured it out. Yeah. So Tom is shocked by this discovery. And he will take a picture of Ron as Duke and confront him after the show. And, so this is a big secret that Ron is trying to keep quiet from his coworkers. He doesn't want anybody to know anything about him, but most of all, he doesn't want anybody to know that his alter ego is saxophone legend Duke Silver. And so they form a truce at that moment. But we'll see how well this truce survives over the coming weeks because, well, we'll see. That's a forward promo.
I love that. I love at the end of his concert, he's like, if you want to continue this, my albums are available in the back. Smooth as Silver, Hi Ho Duke, and coming out later, Memories of Now. They're just, they're so cheesy. They're so bad. It's great. It's so that jazzy kind of trying to be introspective title.
Yeah. It's fantastic.
It's great.
Everything about the Duke Silver lore is so good.
Yeah.
And so Duke Silver will be a recurring part of the show. It's going to be great. And let's see, cuts back to Leslie and Dave. And Leslie is basically falling apart at Dave's house. But Dave is like a good dude. He's not taking advantage of her. He's like, I need you just to be okay. And it's like, man, Dave, what a good dude.
Yeah.
If only the guy who played Dave was actually this good a dude.
Oh, man.
Turns out he's not.
Thinking the same thing.
Yeah. It's like, man, you're so good at pretending to be a good dude.
My favorite joke in that was when Leslie turns to the camera and says, "I think the date's going great." And like, she's just narrating what's happening. It's like, I'm here. I can hear you. It's so good.
Oh man, Leslie is just so fun. So then Mark is working late again, and he sees Dexart on the TV explaining more about what's going on. So then he decides to go to Anne's house and
Dexter, hold on.
His secrets. Yeah.
But Dexter's great because he's like, and I just want to be clear, I will not be resigning over this. And everyone's
right.
And I just feel like the people behind me are like, yeah, that's okay. That makes sense.
Yeah, that's about right.
Yeah, it's, that's just what he does.
He's our Dexhart.
Yeah, I love how much Pawnee really mirrors the the trials and tribulations of the American people. So
yeah, he's the worst. Right?
he is.
Is there anything worse than Congressman Dexhart? There can't possibly be.
I don't think so. I mean, yeah, the stories, the things he's made up, outrageous.
Outrageous. Art could not possibly imitate life.
No, I like how though at this point we gave Mark a lot of bad times early on about how terrible he was, and I really do think throughout these first two seasons, like they did try to change him because he's feeling bad. He wants to go, and so he shows up at Anne's door to confess all these random things just so she doesn't hear it from anybody else. And like when he left the bar with the two girls with Tom earlier on. So I'm not saying he was the greatest character, but they were trying to change him for the better. So what do you think?
Yeah, he was a project.
Yeah,
as a person, and yeah, I don't know if he can really be redeemed as far as his character goes. Like, he's just not that good a person. Like, he's just selfish,
but he's trying,
and he's trying. Yeah, I don't know. With more time, could they have pulled it off? Maybe. Am I glad they didn't try? Yes.
Well, especially with what we got in replacement, which we'll get.
Yeah. I mean, it was such a better road.
I think that's the hard part. It's like, well, yeah.
Yes.
That's way better. Anyway, okay.
Yeah. Right. It's like I could go to Round Table Pizza, which I like, right? It's good.
Do those exist anymore?
There's one by my house.
Oh.
Over by the park and ride. So yeah, they're great.
Grab a slice before you ride.
Exactly. Really grease up those buses. But I like Round Table Pizza. But if like halfway through like the decision to go to Round Table, somebody says, let's go to Pagliacci instead. Well, they're both pizza, but one is way better.
Right. And Papa John's.
Yes. Oh my word. Papa John's. We had Papa John's just a couple weeks ago, and we forgot like how it's really good.
Yeah.
And also Domino's Pizza, it's way better than it used to be, and I'm happy about that.
100%.
So, and it's cheap. That's probably the best part about Domino's Pizza. Like
$5.99 carryout.
Right. The price is so low and the quality is so high. And you think maybe Little Caesars competition, not even close. Domino's is way better than Little Caesars. I said it.
Yeah. Get your $7.99 carryout today for any 3-topping large.
Yeah. So anyway.
Again, not sponsored.
No. This episode has not been brought to you by
anybody.
Purple, Harry's, Dollar Shave Club, Little Caesars. Not Little Caesars, Little Caesars. Their rap group and or Domino's. So
now I just see somebody like a commercial where someone's sitting on their mattress shaving their face while eating a piece of pizza. You're welcome for that visual.
That's so gross. All right. Is there more of the show to talk about?
I don't think you even need to use shaving cream if you get enough grease. Like it's a smooth shave.
So gross. Oh, that is disgusting. I'm scrolling through my notes and
Officer Dave shows up.
He comes in. Yeah, he says like he's really looking forward to their second date.
Oh, an even better guy.
Yeah, he just blew all that first date worry right out of the water. I said, I'm looking forward to our second date. And look at that guy. Look at Officer Dave.
He's a smart one.
Guy.
Yeah,
he is.
Yeah. I hope they work out.
Will they? Won't they? Tune in. So, and then Dexhart closes out again. More just craziness of his whole life. And then April, who's been quiet most of this episode. The end of this show, she's like, I'm really upset that people haven't found any dirt on me. And I drove a riding lawnmower through a Nordstrom. Hello, it's on the internet. I put it there. And that's the end of this episode. So,
Oh, no, one last.
what? There's more?
Tom walks by and says, Jerry, plastic surgery?
Oh, right.
And Jerry goes, I got hit by a fire engine. And April goes, you're so lucky. And Jerry says, how? That's the end.
Yes. Oh, yes. I forgot about that. So good. Yeah, this was a great episode.
It was.
And
set up some great things for the future.
Yeah, we really did get to see more of the Jerry-ness, how everything just goes wrong for Jerry.
This is probably the one I felt, trying to think back, the worst I felt for Jerry, because outside of the parking ticket, when he tried to, a lot of the stuff he doesn't deserve. Like he's just, this one seemed really, really, I don't know, just really harsh to Jerry in this one episode. So I feel like they do things later to make him a little more buffoony, or, he kind of did it to himself in a way. Like, oh, Jerry, you did this thing, versus right now it just feels like everyone's just being very mean to him, right? So I don't know. That's my take.
Yeah,
it's a hot one.
Well, it's not a cold take, but it's not like scorching. But it's an important point, Jerry. He's the butt of all the jokes. Mm-hmm. Sometimes it's a cube butt. So. Do you watch the Netflix, right?
Yeah, most all of it. Yeah.
On the Netflix menu for Parks and Rec, do you have Apple TV?
Yes, but I don't know. Like Apple Plus or an Apple TV device?
Apple TV device.
I do, but that's not where I watch it on.
Okay. Because the Netflix app for the Apple TV device, it has a autoplay thing when you land on a show or a movie or something. Sometimes it's the trailer. Sometimes it's just a clip. On Netflix, it always lands on this conference room scene where they say Jerry has a cube butt. And it's not even that funny. It's like, that's what you land on. That's what you've chosen to use as your promotion, Netflix, for this show. So
maybe it's genius. Maybe they're saying it can only go up from there. Like the jokes.
I don't think that's how marketing works.
Oh, it's not. Okay.
I'm not a marketer, but pretty sure.
Maybe that's why I've been failing. Show everyone the lowest possible bar, and then everything else just exceeds that. Isn't it like the whole under promise, over deliver?
Oh, right. Yeah, but you actually have to make the promise something that people want.
Oh, that's where I've been failing all these years.
Yeah, I'm glad we could have this moment.
You don't want bratwurst cereal. My bad. That was a terrible idea.
Well, slow down. Slow down. Tell me more about this bratwurst cereal.
Well, it's cereal that's made of bratwurst.
Is it dried?
Could be. It depends upon how much milk you add.
Yeah, that sounds terrible.
Okay.
All right. Did you find any trivia or anything for this episode that people should know about season 2, episode 4? Anything?
I didn't. But I didn't look either.
Oh, well, okay. Good. That worked out great.
How about you? Did you find anything interesting?
Just that this was the first time we hear about Wiz Palace, and it won't be the last time. It'll be an ongoing part of the show. And Perd Hapley is going to be in 32 appearances over this season. So I'm really looking forward to more of Perd. And so, yeah, that's really it. And then Duke Silver, of course.
Of course. So, yeah. So favorite joke was the Tom. Yours was the Tom one?
The Tom one.
Tom, where Jerry got told that his mom was adopted, or he was adopted. Mark.
That was Mark telling Jerry. Yeah. I think that was my favorite interaction with Jerry. I didn't know I was adopted.
Yeah,
that's pretty great. So
cool.
What was yours?
I stand by Wiz Palace.
Wiz Palace. All right. Well, I think that's a great place to end then.
Sounds good to me.
I stand by Wiz Palace.
Yeah.
like a guard at Buckingham Palace.
A man has to have a code.
Exactly. If we've learned anything from anything. So, okay, cool. Well, good, man. I am looking forward. Next week is going to be another great episode. I was looking ahead, and it was now my internet is being slow because I was going to look up the list so people could get ready. Episode 5 of season 2. We're looking at the scrolling Sister City.
Oh, yes.
I mean, this we need to probably like really prepare for this episode. I'm gonna plan on watching it a couple of times. So that I can bring all of my A game to this recording.
Let's do maybe a 2-part podcast.
I think there's room
to be continued.
Oh, yes. Today on a very special Parks and Conversation, part 1 of a conversation about a season 2, episode 5 episode of Parks and Recreation. And then we play the dun 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 music. It's going to be great.
I'm in.
All right, cool. Well then, thank you guys for sticking with us through our conversation here. And Jeremy, I will talk to you later. And have a great weekend, man.
Sounds good. You too. I'll talk to you later.
All right, bye.
Bye.